What is up, guys? KG, RoughToBeBuffTV. I'm back and I got some brand spanking new content for you guys today. I have an interview with a good buddy of mine that I've known literally since I was 5 years old. His name's Sonny Kaesbauer. He's a motivational speaker. He specializes in mindset management. So the interview you're about to see is something in depth and in detail, telling Sonny's story. So I know there's going to be a lot of great stuff in here that can connect with anybody. So without further ado, my interview with Sonny Kaesbauer. Yo guys, it's me, KG, RoughToBeBuffTV. We're back with another very special guest, a special friend of mine, the one, the only, Sonny Kaesbauer. We are going to be picking his brain, motivational speaker, and seeing what makes him tick and seeing how he can help you guys out. Create the best version of yourself so you guys can live your vision. Super excited to have him in the building today. RoughToBeBuffTV. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so we are here with the one, the only, Sonny Kaesbauer. Bruised but not beaten is his brand. So Sonny, tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
I am 32 years old. I was born and raised in great La Mirada, California. Grew up with everybody, playing football, basketball, very active kid. At some point in life, I wanted to pursue firefighting and a lot of physical activities. Unfortunately, at 26, I got injured and I broke my neck.
Gotcha. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more. Tell me, what is Bruised but not beaten? What's that all about?
Bruised but not beaten is it's a little play with words off my diagnosis. My spine wasn't severed; it was bruised. And I feel like everybody walks around with emotional wounds and are bruised in some way or another. So what I want to encourage those people who are dealing with that is wear bruises like a banner, wear bruises with pride, and understand we all are dealing with similar situations that come in different sizes, shapes, but we can get through them with the right attitude.
Solid, man. So that's basically how you came up with the name.
Right.
Gotcha. Now, tell me a little bit about your story and when you were 26 and what happened there.
At 26, I was a very normal guy like everybody else. Friends and I used to always go to the river during the summer. And this particular trip, we were staying at a casino in Laughlin, and we decided to go to the pool late at night, probably 2 in the morning, probably a bad idea. And when we got there, it wasn't very well lit. I couldn't see the depth of the pool. I jumped over the gate, I let people in, and then I turned around, and that's kind of where my memory goes blurry. But from what people have put together for me, I dove in, broke my neck, my C5 and C6 vertebrae, and had bone fragments and bruises all over my spine. And from that point on, I was diagnosed as a quadriplegic. At first, I was diagnosed as a complete quad. Now I'm diagnosed as an incomplete. But I have limited function in my hands. I'm paralyzed from the chest down, so can't move my legs or anything like that. And that's kind of how my story in this journey really starts.
Now, moving on from there, we all have a rock bottom. What did that look like for you?
Rock bottom for me was about 6 months into my injury. I just turned 27, and I was having some friends over for a birthday, and I was miserable. And as soon as everybody left, I cried on my mom's shoulder, and I was miserable because I thought in my head, being naive and trying to convince myself that I would walk in 6 months, that I would be this miracle person. And 6 months down the road, the girl I was dating at the time had left, all my closest friends were gone, and you're sitting in this room and, with your mother, and that's really the only last friend you have. And you're dealing with probably the worst thing, a nightmare in my eyes, and it was crushing. I didn't realize how depressed I was until I've gotten to the place I am today. But if I could have physically at that time committed suicide, it would have been a strong possibility I would have. Physically, I couldn't do it. That's probably the only reason why my life has been saved.
So how has this entire experience changed your life for the better?
I guess the interesting part about it is being physically paralyzed. I didn't realize how emotionally paralyzed I was for a lot of years. And what I mean by that was fear. I let fear, doubt, insecurity rule my life pretty much all the way up until 26 years old. Every decision was based on other people's limitations. Nothing was based off what truly I felt in my heart. And I let fear just be a determining factor for everything. And I think after being in this situation, I've learned how much I was holding myself back and how much I was surrendering to the wrong things. I was given a second chance on this earth, and for me to let insecurities control my thought process, not help other people, and not fulfill my dreams would just be more devastating than anything else. So the biggest thing that's changed in me is my willingness just to go out and be uncomfortable and do things that I probably should have done a long time ago, but I'm willing to put myself out there now and see what happens.
So what was that moment, man? What was that moment of awakening for you?
For me, the real strong moment again was I was in a relationship with a girl, and this was 4 years after my accident, and I thought I was healed and I thought I was getting better. And I just got ran over by this chick, and it's because I thought of myself as broken. I thought of myself as undeserving of a real relationship. And I just let this girl run over me, and found out she was cheating on me, found out like I was just getting taken for a ride. And at that moment I was like, that's never gonna happen again. And I made a decision then and there that I'm going to fulfill my destiny. And I don't know exactly how it looks, but I have faith in the plan that I'm going to get where I wanna go. I'm going to walk again. I'm going to have the right woman in my life. My family's gonna be healthy and happy. I have no doubt about that, but I had to make that decision. And that's something we all struggle with, is making that decision and sticking by it.
What advice can you give to other people from what you've experienced?
My advice that I would give to other people is to go through your pain, to not be shy, and to not, it's normal. It's normal to feel upset, it's normal to feel angry, it's normal to feel resentment. Those feelings are normal. I think sometimes we're told they're negative feelings or you shouldn't feel this way, but it's part of the releasing process is to go through these emotions. Not look for drugs, not look for alcohol, not look for women to ease your pain or relationships to ease your pain. Go through them. And I guarantee you, the quicker you allow yourself to feel this pain and go through it, the quicker you'll heal. I think a lot of times we kind of prolong our healing because we don't want to go through the pain. So we mask it for so long and we bury it and bury it, and it only gets worse. So my advice is if you're going through something, try to figure out why. You know, ask questions. Why am I going through this? What do I need to learn? Because life has a way of teaching us lessons. And listen to the answers, but allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. And I promise you'll feel better sooner than later.
What's the best advice that you could give someone who's going through a depression or feeling down?
My worst times of depression were always during times where I felt like I had no purpose. One of the hardest things being in a wheelchair and having your hands affected is you feel like a burden. I got to ask people to cut up my food sometimes. I got to ask people to take off a cap on a water bottle. I need help dressing every now and then. And you feel like a burden. You feel like you have no purpose. So if you're sitting there and you're depressed, you need to find out what your purpose is. And it could be something as simple as, you know, you feeding the homeless or you doing something for somebody else, being selfless. That's where I started to find my purpose again, was opening up and talking about my journey. And I started to see how it was affecting other people's journey. And I started to see them follow me, and I started to see these comments, and I'm like, that's my purpose. And from that point on, it's just given me more wind in my sails. So if you're sitting there and you're depressed, go out and find your purpose and start by doing something for somebody else.
That's awesome, man. How has exercise and fitness played a role in your recovery?
So with exercise, I started off, when I originally got hurt, I was probably like a 210 pound guy. I had a beer belly, but I was pretty healthy. And when I got hurt, because of the way I got hurt, I actually drowned and I had pneumonia, I had staph infection, I had a feeding tube, I had a trach. I went from 200 pounds to 170 in 2 months, to the point where I couldn't even sit up in bed. Couldn't push my chair down the hallway. And for me, having kind of athletic background, I thought, the more I rehab, the more independence I get. So nowadays, from working out, it gives me the strength and the stamina to go in the store and push around the store and push a cart around. It gives me the strength to drive. It gives me the strength to enjoy activities I love more now than ever because I have a totally different appreciation for them. And beyond all that, it just gives me the confidence when I sleep at night knowing that I did something about my situation today. I didn't lay in bed and feel sorry for myself. I didn't play the victim role. I got up, I worked out. I'm one day closer to being fully healed.
I see your Instagram.
Okay.
This is off top. This is off kill here. I see your Instagram and I see what you're doing on your social media, and I think it's phenomenal. What's your mission, or what's your vision? What's motivating you to do what you're doing?
With Instagram, by the way, the tagline is Sonny and Chair. If you guys want to give it a follow, I'm sure you'll put it in the bio. My mission is to break stereotypes. As soon as I got in my wheelchair, I was labeled, and I got put in this box. And I know a lot of people will feel this when I say this. I hate when people tell me what I can't do. I hate when people try to put limitations on me. So for me, I want to break down barriers. They say people with injuries like mine, they say people with any kind of disability, they almost make it seem like we're not good enough and that we don't deserve certain things. So my goal, my mission is to break down these barriers and provide a way for other people similar to me or dealing with any kind of disability, a path to follow.
Awesome, dude. Love it. So what are your plans for the future?
For the future, it's always going to have continued rehab. I'm always going to work my tail off and try to get the ultimate. And a lot of people in my position, all they want to do is walk again. And for me, that's not good enough. I want to walk around this earth with a scar on the back of my neck and a story, but that's all you know. So that's my dream, that's my mission, physically. And also, with all the platforms there are out there, I want to be a speaker. I want to travel around, talk to high schools, talk to educators, talk to nurses, talk to physical therapists, and kind of explain to them how they affected my journey, because I've had great and bad ones. And there's a lot of knowledge there that I have now. And I want to just use any outlet that is available to me, whether that would be commercials, to acting, to speaking, to whatever the case is, to just get my message out there. And at the end of the day, it's always going to be genuine and it's always going to be humble, but it's going to be real. And I think that's what people gravitate to these days.
Who would you like to thank?
Right off the bat, my family. I mean, at the end of the day, and it's crazy because I've heard this my whole life, but friends come and go, girls come and go, but your family, your blood's always going to be there. I want to thank my family first off, and I got to thank God because He has a plan. I look at it, and there is video of when I got hurt. I was underwater for over 5 minutes. I shouldn't be here with my wits. I shouldn't be here talking and communicating the way I am. So there's obviously a plan there. And I think sometimes we're so worried about finding answers, we're so worried about where our journey is going, that we don't stop and just realize that it's part of a bigger picture. It's bigger than us. So I want to thank my family and God first and foremost. And as I go along, it's these relationships I'm building. Those are amazing. And I don't take any relationship or any day lightly because tomorrow's not promised.
I know you're a big reader.
Yeah.
So give me, what are you reading right now, or what have you read in the last 6 months that have made a huge impact on your life?
Oh man, okay. I read The Obstacle is the Way, and I wish I remember the author right off the bat, but it goes through stories of how adversity shaped famous people to regular people, but we don't realize that adversity is what kind of carves our character and our integrity. And for me, that was one of the things that I feel like I lacked before my accident. I was more concerned about my reputation rather than who I was as a person. So that's one of the great books I read. I've read The Alchemist. I read The Four Agreements. I'm really big on self-improvement books because I feel like there's so much room for self-improvement with me, and I want to sharpen my mind now before my body takes over again so they're equal. So I just encourage you though, because I know everybody hates to read, even if you just read a chapter a day, I mean, what is that, 15 minutes? I mean, we probably spend twice that amount of time just scrolling up and down feeds all day long, or doing nothing important. So I just encourage you guys to read. There's something about reading that hits you differently than any other outlet out there. So if you have a moment, get a book and one chapter a day, and reflect on it, because reading without reflection is not really reading.
In general, what should people spend less time doing?
Oh man, this goes back to the Four Agreements. Definitely the one thing that starts on top of my list is stop comparing yourself to other people. We live in this society now where we look at social media and we see highlights of other people's lives and we think they got it better than us. So if you're sitting there and you're unhappy, stop gossiping, Stop worrying about what other people are doing, thinking, saying. Take nothing personal. And be impeccable with your word. You know, that's another thing that I think we've lost. I mean, besides comparing ourselves to all these people that are living like these boring lives, to me, like, I don't see anything special with some of these people out that are quote unquote famous these days. You know, where's your mark at? You know, where are you leaving an imprint on this earth? And stop worrying about what other people are up to. And on top of that, if you say you're going to do something, follow through. There's nothing more gratifying to me than telling somebody, yeah, I'll be there at that time and I'll do this with you. Showing up and doing it. Even if I don't really want to do it, it's something about it that it's so unselfish. You know, I think that's something we all need to kind of stop focusing so much on ourselves and other people and just be selfless every now and then. And there's something about that that will just inspire something inside of you you didn't even know you had.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? Man, I'm Italian. I love my mom's pasta, but I can always crush a good hamburger and fries though.
Favorite sports teams? Basketball?
Oh, that's easy. That's Lakers all day.
Football?
Packers.
All-time favorite athlete?
Brett Favre. Guy was a warrior, man.
Sonny, I think that's all we got for today, man. I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you having me.
Bruised but not beaten, Sonny Kaesbauer. I'm gonna link that stuff on the screen in the description. Any final words?
You know, I just wanna first thank Kyle for having me on here. You know, Buff is too rough. That's been this guy his whole life, so that fits perfectly. But if you're listening to this and you got all the way through it, really take value from it. Listen with an open heart and open mind. There's something in this message that will definitely relate to you.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
No problem.